Well, everyone, welcome to the live Google Hangouts with three top admin from across the country. And if you guys would all introduce yourselves, tell us where you're from, and then we'll start getting into what classes you went to and what your top ahas were from those. So start with your name, where you're from, what your role is on the team, and what are some of your top job duties in that role? Lindsay, you want to go first?
Sure. I'm Linzee Ciprani. It's nice to meet all of you guys. I'm in Worcester, Pennsylvania. I am the COO and owner of the Jesse Johnston team. And my main roles there now happen to be hiring, well, mainly recruiting, and then training for our admin and our agents and ISAs. And just really anything operations is falling under me. And then, was that all I had to do? I think so.
Yep, perfect. Olivia, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Oliva O'Toole. I'm in Worcester, Massachusetts. We're a team of 5. There's 3 agents and 2 admins. I was the lead agent's first hire, so I've been with him since 2013. So I'm kind of in a constant state of refiguring out what my role is as the team grows. I have finally been able to hand off almost all of transactions. We have a transaction coordinator now. I'm in charge of operations and listing manager and anything else that needs to happen. Is that it?
Yeah, that's great.
I always forgot the questions.
That's okay. You did great. And Nicole.
Right. Hi, I'm Nicole Sarenpa from the Minneapolis, Minnesota area, Lake Minnetonka Market Center. My team, I co-own my team with my husband. I was his first leverage. Now we are up to a team of 8 if you include our full-time virtual assistant. We have 4 agents, transaction coordinator, listing manager, and myself, who is in the COO role. I oversee anything that has to do with systems, tools, and people. So I will I find myself flipping back and forth between Recruit Select and retooling things on a very regular basis. So I will go deep into one and then flip over to the other, and usually that's kind of how my days are tend to be lately.
Somehow I've managed to get off of the page I need to be on, so give me just a second.
You're back.
Okay, let's see. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
I can.
Okay. Why can I? Here we go. Is this where I need to be? No. Is this where I need to be?
We had the tech all figured out.
I know. Gosh. That's weird. That's not what I wanted. Okay. Here. There I am. Okay. Too many windows. All right. Sorry about that. Let's get back into then what classes did you go to? And if you want to narrow that, if you can't remember all of them, I know there's quite a few. But pick your top that you went to that you got the most out of, and then tell us what your top 3 were, whether it was that class or another class. What did you go to, and what were your biggest, this is what I'm taking back to my team, this is what I learned, and this is what I'm going to implement and do. Lindsay, you want to start us off?
Sure. So the different panels that we went to, and then what our actual top 3 ahas were. That's what you're looking for?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So the ones that I think were the best breakouts for me, there was an ISA one that was awesome with Tim Heil and his lead ISA, who now runs Phone Animal. And then Haro's ISA was on there too, and she was awesome. So that was a big one. I took a lot away from that one. And then I went to 2 different breakouts that actually had Wendy Papasan on them, just because I love her and I love hearing her and everything that she's doing to grow her team. And both of those ended up being, really, really impactful for me as well. So in the one that she was on, and I can't remember the names of them, I probably should have looked that up, they talked about talent. And I think that, obviously that's a reoccurring theme that we're hearing a lot about all the time. But they were talking about talent, and specifically there was a team on there named the Easy Team who spoke about a book called Give and Take, Why Helping Others Drives Our Success. And I spend a lot of my day recruiting, and I had never really thought about whether I was hiring givers or takers for people. And I'll tell you that I've started reading that book since hearing about it on there, and it was huge for me. In there, they talked about also, finding 5 people that can be under you that you can help deliver financial freedom to. And so that became one of my personal goals from that breakout. And then I had, that Wendy's other breakout, she talked about FOAMSAP, which was FOMSAP. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that before. That was actually the first time I had heard about it. And F stood for focus on what needs to move from E to P, which is the entrepreneurial to purposeful. And then O was options, what's out there for you, what are your options. M was for models. S was for systems, who does it really well. A was accountability, who holds you accountable. And then P was for purpose. And you're supposed to get in there and be purposeful with your mindset. And just hearing that one thing and thinking through what I'm doing with FOAMSAP in my own business made me look at our CRMs again, of course, as an operations person. I met with, Brevity and a couple there. And I think, my goal for this next year, or one of my ahas, is to try to get us off 1 million different systems and get us into 1 or 2 or 3 that maybe help track better and help, hold accountability better. Seize the Market was one that I was extremely impressed with, also very expensive. So we'll see. And then to go back to the ISA, so my third aha, I think, that I'm going to kind of try to put into place here was listening to the ISAs and about how important they need to be on our team. I think we think of them kind of as the phone monkey, for lack of a better word, but really they're delivering all of our agents, all of our talent, amazing opportunities on a regular basis, and we really need to care for them and to pour into them. And the biggest aha from there, besides that, was the fact that there's an OSA and ISA. I did not realize that numerous people that are doing this on a high level have an OSA that's calling the expireds and for sale by owners, and an ISA that is nurturing. We have an ISA who's doing both things, and it's hard to do all of it. So,
did you pull away? Yeah, that's awesome. Did you pull away from that what personality profiles were recommended for each one, the OSA and the ISA?
Yeah, ISA is DI if you can find them, and ID can work as well, but then the nurturing, they want that I up, they want the ID. So very cool.
Excellent. And you said you went to Tim Heil's class on the ISA and the OSA, didn't you?
Yes. Yep.
And did he have he had those particular people up on the panel interviewing his own people per se?
Yep. He had 2 different people. He had his lead ISA that's now in charge of Phone Animal. She was up there on the panel, and he was asking them the questions. And then Haro's ISA, lead ISA, was there as well.
What drives those people? What what is important to an OSA or an ISA when they're getting on the phone every day, making their phone calls? What did you gather from the people sitting on the panel that was their top motivator, their top reason or why, or what are you looking for in talent when you're looking for those people for your team?
Yeah. They over and over again said respect. That came through loud and clear. They want to be respected. They want us to understand that they're there to make money and that they're good at what they do. And they also very much wanted accountability. They want to know what happened once they sent that agent out on that appointment. They want to know how the conversation went. Those two things were the two biggest things that they said they want.
Oh, that's brilliant. I haven't heard that before, so I'm so glad that you brought that to us. I know agents are looking for someone to take that off of their plate because it's not a part of the job that they enjoy so much. So I was just wondering what kind of person does enjoy that part of the job, and obviously someone that would, a DIID, the respect and accountability is totally that profile. So thank you for bringing that to us. That's awesome. Anything else you want to add to that, Lindsay?
No, I think that covers it pretty well, as systems, talent, and specifically with the ISA, what does that talent look like? So
awesome. Did he mention anything about where you might find that talent, like what maybe their previous job or current job would be?
They did. That's a really good question. Their biggest, actually, it was Haro's. I think it was Anna. She said that they look for college recruiters, and she was a college recruiter.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm writing that down.
Yes. That's what they've hired numerous of, and they've had great success with it. So.
Perfect.
Yep.
That's excellent. Well, good deal. Olivia, you want to fill us in on some classes that you attended and what your top takeaways and implementation or things that you want to implement on your team?
Sure. So the first thing is this was my second year going, and so last year I had no idea what to expect, and this year I actually went in with an idea in mind of what I really wanted to pull out of it, and that was connections with other admins. Specifically, I wanted to meet someone that I could pair up with as an accountability partner, and I was able, Saturday before it actually even all kicked off, I was able to meet someone. Our teams are in sort of similar production last year, similar goals this year. We hit it off, so we're going to be working together as accountability partners, keep ourselves in line, because that's one of the biggest things. Because my agent can't really keep me, he can keep me accountable to a point, but he's doing his thing, and I'm doing my thing, and I need an accountability partner who's kind of doing the same thing I am and kind of gets where I am and what I'm doing. So that was huge right there.
Was there something specific that you want to be held accountable to? Is that implementing systems or finding talent, or was there anything in particular that you feel like you need to keep your feet in the fire for?
There's not one specific thing. I think what it is that I need someone who I can tell them sort of the beginning of each week, here's what I need to get out of this week. And she can say, here's what I need to get out of this week. At the end of the week, we can say, well, how did we do? If we didn't reach, get done what we needed to get done, then why? So there's not one thing. I mean, so now coming out of family reunion, I'm kind of out of order on what I'm supposed to be telling you, but
no, you're fine.
Is coming out of it, I realized that my one thing really needs to be getting our operations manual in place. So that's going to be a huge focus for me. So that's where I'm going to be kind of leaning on her, saying, okay, here's where I need to be, by the end of this week or this month with the manual, and she can kind of keep my feet to the fire there.
That's awesome. I do see that agents sometimes have difficulty wrapping their head around what it is that we do as executive managers, and it's easier to hold an agent to a number. Okay, you need to make so many dials, so many calls, contacts, you need to meet with this many people. It's a little more difficult to talk to an admin and say, okay, you need to have this many pages of the operations manual done, or you need to interview this many people. it's a little easier to wrap their minds around a contacts number than it is on an admin side. And I get that too. So your connection with another admin, I commend you for that. That's awesome. I'm glad you got that.
So that was really good. I took, so the classes I took, I went to that Brains Behind the Chaos panel before things got started, which was awesome.
Yeah, what was your top takeaway from that?
From that one, I think it was that I need to take Recruit Select, and I really need to kind of stop pushing off that, because that's something I've kind of resisted, and I wrote down while I was in there, like in my notes, is like, I need to take Recruit Select. So that was, I think, my biggest takeaway from there. But then it was also, you know, take good care of the team. Like, you got to take care of the team first, and then the team will take care of the clients. Because client care is something I really want to expand my focus on this year. But that made me kind of step back and think, okay, I want to expand my client care, but what does that mean as far as taking care of everyone on the team and how they understand client care and how they understand what our position to all the clients are. So it was kind of a good reminder of that need for really good constant communication.
That's awesome. Give us an example of taking care of the team. How would we go about doing that?
I mean, I think one of the most important things is just taking the time to listen. So we have our transaction coordinator, and she started with us in August last year, and she's doing awesome. And if I'd had an operations manual in place, probably would have gotten up to speed a lot faster. But she really is doing awesome, and I realized my lead agent gave me a book to read, Leading at a Higher Level. And I started reading through that, and I realized that what I needed to do more of was just kind of stopping and finding out, you know, not just saying like, hey, how are you doing, but kind of specifically making sure I'm letting her know when things are going really well. And if I see something that, you know, could be an issue, making sure I'm talking with her about it. So I think making sure that I'm connecting with her on her level, and that I'm giving her a chance to express any concerns, or any good things too. And then as far as the agents, you know, it's the same thing. We want to make sure that we want to hold them accountable, and we want to make sure that they're doing what they need to do, but we don't want, you know, I think it's also important to understand what they're looking for, you know, from the team, and what it is they want us to be providing for them, so that we can give them back and make it a fair trade.
That's perfect. I like that a lot. What else did you have to share with us? We may have lost Olivia.
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
You're just frozen.
Yeah.
Frozen video.
Nicole, you want to go ahead and tell us?
Sure.
We'll pick back up with Olivia.
Yeah, so I'm going to kind of go in chronological order of kind of bring you through my experience of family reunion this year, starting with the vision speech. The one thing at the vision speech that really stood out to me from Gary Keller is the slide that had the levels that were kind of, you know, stair-stepped up. So a $5 million producer, their habits equal the level of the volume that they produce, and the further up you go, you need bigger habits, and you know what, and a bigger mindset shift from a $50 million producer to a $100 million producer. So that's really what started my family reunion experience, is really sitting back and thinking about, like, okay, so our team, we are a $48 million producer level team, and what do we need to do? You can already probably pick up a theme. I'm going to be talking a lot about mindset, because all of the classes that I ended up resonating with me, that I really found valuable, had to do with not what we're doing, but who we're being. And so that was really a theme. Who am I being as a leader on my team? And you know, what am I thinking? What are my thoughts? Because your thoughts determine your actions. So that was the thought. There was one quote, and I don't know if I'll be able to find it quickly, but it was something something along the lines of, how much do you think $100 million producer negotiates with themselves in their morning? And I'm gonna like be totally transparent with you guys. I still do a fair amount of negotiating with myself with my mornings. So I came into family reunion really, you know, and I've had conversations with my coach lately about my need. Like, one, I texted with him on our coaching before one of our coaching calls, and I said, the only thing we need to talk about is controlling my evenings, my sleep time, so I can control my wake time, so that I can control my day and my workouts as well. So that was a big thing that I came into family reunion, you know, with the intention of exploring more.
I want to bring that point to light, that the person that you are when the team is doing 10 million or 20 or 30 is not the same person that you are when the team is doing 50 or 80 or 100. It's a completely different switch from being in it every day to thinking, okay, how am I going to lead today? I so like that you're bringing that up. I'm seeing that for myself as well, and I wanted all the admin to know that it's different, which is why I think that I've been in it for so long, 10 plus years, you know, and people would think, oh, you've been doing the same job for 10 years. Well, no, every year is different, because every year I become a better version of myself.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so I love that you're bringing that up.
Yeah. Well, and Gary Keller talks about I do it, we do it, they do it. And, you know, at that level, at the higher levels, it just becomes not optional. You have to succeed through others. You know, and you get to a certain point, I think, where you can't physically do it on your own. And you know, if you're as a brand new EA, you could be in the role for a month. I've seen people just fly in their first month and just their careers take off, because they've got that mindset of growth, and they understand what it means to really be a builder. And I mean, I don't know if it really even matters how long you've been in the business, as long as you take on that mindset of building and growth, and then leveraging through others. The sooner you do it, the sooner you will grow into greater levels of leadership on your own teams, and become more valuable and indispensable to your teams.
Exactly. So, absolutely. Perfect.
So I went to Shift Your Mind, Shift Your Market. I went to Empire Building, which is about the new recruit select process. And there was another class on the KPA, the Keller Personality Assessment. So diving deep into what the new recruit select process is.
Yeah, that looks to be interesting. Is that tell us a little bit more about that. Is that like AVA plus, and they're throwing in more areas of behavior, or what does that look like?
So the AVA is going to be, I mean, it's still going to be available for all of us to use, but career visioning is the new version of Recruit Select. So in April, the new career visioning they'll roll out the new career visioning. And what it is the AVA was created for all industries, and this is Gary Keller's his project, like this is all Gary Keller driven. So he's creating this process for us that's very specific to real estate. So so the AVA is going away, really, and we will be using what we've learned as none of the foundational ideas and concepts are going away. They're just being repackaged into this thing called career visioning. So the AVA is turning into the KPA, which is a Keller personality assessment. It's very exciting. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, since it's got Gary Keller's name on it, that must be his brainchild. That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't think we can really go wrong. I think if we embrace it, there's going to be a learning curve there. But there's some really powerful tools that will help us measure specific people against 25 different Keller Williams roles. So you could see with the KPA, you can see, okay, so this is someone's, and it's also measuring thinking, it's measuring behavior, and it's also measuring thinking. So there's a whole other powerful piece that they're adding in about with the thinking piece. So you can measure someone that you have coming in to be a ISA, and you realize that they actually fit 5 different roles within your organization instead of you're just measuring them against one jar. So.
That's awesome. I think oftentimes we find someone who we think would be a good fit for our team, and maybe they do for a little while, but it could be that they grow into another position. And if
exactly.
the KPA can help us identify those people and move them or excel them across something else that we may have a need for in the future, that's even better.
Right.
Perfect. What other class did you attend that you want to share with us?
So let's see. I hit at the very end, I attended Tim Hale's systems course, which was, I'm really focused on both systems and mindset. So systems, that was an amazing course. And then I took Quantum Leap at the very end as well. Let me pull out my notes from
who taught the Quantum Leap class?
That was Jean Rivers.
Jean Rivers, perfect.
Yep. Let me see.
It was good too, because that was the new Quantum Leap.
It's repackaged, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a good course.
What do you want me to talk about? Quantum Leap or Tim Hale systems?
The systems.
Okay, so one thing, I'll just kind of talk about common theme, and like I really do a lot of observing. Like I observe how Tim Hale thinks, because he's thinking on that, $100 million level that we're going to. So I'm picking up the way that he thinks about things. He moves very fast, and he can shift and adapt quickly. He said we've tried everything under the sun. We've been all over the map. We've tried all sorts of compensation models. They don't get stuck. He's not. I'm noticing that he's not getting stuck in one certain way of like they've decided what they're doing, so now we're going to do it for the next 3 years. They identify quickly. They adapt and change and shift based on results.
Yeah,
so that was one thing.
What I've heard mostly about Tim Hale is that he and people like Ben Kinney, they just feel faster than anyone else. They screw it up, make a big mess, figure out what works, and then move on to the next thing. Because they're just completely fearless about having this failure in their pocket. And to them, it's like the faster I get this messed up and out of the way and move on, the more successful I'll be. And they've literally proven that.
Yep, faster you learn. So, and I'm definitely more conservative. I'm the more conservative. I mean, just by nature, I'm the integrator. I'm not. I take on some visionary kind of roles in my business, but my comfort zone is the kind of more risk-averse integrator by nature. So,
yeah. And guys, when she's talking about the integrator and the visionary, that's directly from the Rocket Fuel book. Go out on Amazon and buy that if you don't already have it. I underlined every other page in that book. It's awesome.
It's an amazing book. Just if you ever have any challenges with your mega, it might just, help you sleep a little better at night because you're not alone.
Exactly. Oh, that's so true. Perfect. When you talk about the systems, was there anything in particular in that session, like a system, not necessarily, well, I don't know, or maybe it could be a system for lead management or your CMA, or was it that type of system, or were they talking about something else?
It could very easily get into a what is the system, but he kept it really high level. So, yeah, he uses Boomtown. Yeah, he uses, Gecko boards to track, for tracking, and, he uses CTE, and that's not what this was about, though. This was really about your systems for setting your vision, your systems for goal setting. He talked a lot about the 411, which I love that because we would be lost without the 411 as a tool, just our entire team. So he really uses those at a high level. Systems for goal setting and systems for tracking where things are at. So like he uses the 135, and he talked about the 135 who, when, which we're moving in that direction. We're using a 135 for goal setting for our team. 1 goal, 3 priorities, 5 strategies, so that you're working a plan and you're proactive and everyone's on the same page. He even talks about having GPSs, or what they're both called the same thing, GPS 135. A 135 for specific projects and specific time periods. Maybe you've got specific goals for the first quarter, and you've got to retool this system, and you've got to get to this level of whatever it is. You're breaking it down by, the goals, the priorities, and the strategies, and then you're working your plan.
Yeah, what's so awesome about that 135 is that it doesn't have to be necessarily for the entire team. It can be a 135 for your marketing division, or it could be a 135 for your hiring team. It can be separated, and especially I see that working for larger teams, with 20 plus people on it, where you literally have divisions that do different things. So I like how flexible that plan is, and how it can be all on one sheet, and then adding the component of who and when, who is responsible, and when is the deadline for those things.
Yeah. The when was a big aha for me, because I have seen a 1355 who, so it dives into 5 strategies and the 5 things you're going to do, and then who's going to do them. But to make it time sensitive was like, oh, that was so good.
Yes, that all goes back to work expands to fill the time allowed. And if you've got all year to do it, it's going to take all year to do it. But if you give it 2 months or 3 months or 6 months, whatever it is, you can do a lot more than you think you can.
Right. Love that.
Perfect. Anything else you want to add to that?
He did say, I love this myth and truth that he gave. He said the bigger the team, the myth is that the bigger the team, the worse the customer service. And as, a lot of us are on teams and growing teams, he said the truth is that big teams have the resources to do excellent customer service. And he also mentioned after he said that the hardest time for him for quality was when he was a small team. So that kind of gives me hope, because I would still put us in the category of small team, where we're really kind of, I had an aha that we're kind of redlining our resources a little bit. And so we're going to have to really be fearless and take some leaps and make, maybe I thought that I needed to make 1 hire, and maybe I need to make 3 hires, and So, you know, if you're a new executive assistant or a new agent and you think that the fear goes away after you get to a certain level, it just never, ever goes away, ever. You just get to a new level and you have a new fear that you have to just get through. So that was good. It was really good.
That's awesome. I really like that. We're always challenged with something, and while we may feel the fear and move through it anyway, this job would not be very exciting if there wasn't a little bit of fear involved. So I totally love that. Yeah. Awesome.
Am I still frozen?
Yes, you froze up for a little bit there, so I'm so glad you're back.
I wasn't sure if I was back. Just because I wanted to kind of add on to what she said about the fear, is that was one of my big three things that I walked away from, is that I've been really sort of undervaluing my worth to the team because of that fear, because of thinking, well, if we get super big, like, I'm not going to be good enough to keep up, or I'm not going to be good at hiring. Maybe I'll hire the wrong person, and all of those things, and really kind of talking myself into it. One thing Gary Keller said during one of his speeches, I'm not sure which, was, about sort of where you set your goals. And he says, well, maybe you're one of those people who says, well, I don't need a big life. I'm happy where I am. And he's like, okay. And I thought, well, God, that's me, because it's not like I'm like, I just sit there and go, I don't need to be big. And then I stopped and I thought, but I could be. I'm on a team that is doing really well. We were like number 5 in closed units for the region in January. So we're in a good place and we're growing, and but I really need to step up, and I need to be someone who's going to help the lead agent grow this team and become the team we need to be. So I need to change my mindset, and I need to just kind of go, okay, it's scary, but I need to become the person that hires, and I need to become the person that trains, and I need to get my mind out of being in the trenches. Like, I'm good at doing stuff in the trenches and taking care of problems and putting out fires, but that's not really where my strength to the team is at this point. And so I need to completely switch that mindset. So this year, a lot of what I'm going to be focused on, I'm going to be taking a lot of training, and really kind of moving from the role of the reactive assistant to more of the proactive operations manager. But it is scary, because it's like, well, what if I'm not good at it? But looking backwards, I think, well, every year, it's like you said, it's different every year. There's always a new challenge, and you look back and you realize, well, you were good last time. You just have to keep looking forward and figure out what you need to do, stay accountable. And it's limitless. It really is.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yes, I know. It's so fun to watch.
That's so cool.
Grow right in front of you. How that mindset and that realization sparks something in you, a lot of life, and that's brilliant. I like that we're going back to that plays right into Rocket Fuel again, the role of the integrator, and I've myself have gone through that transformation where I stop thinking of myself as an assistant and start thinking of myself as a strategic partner. That it's the two of us leading the team and growing the team and making ourselves and everyone around us bigger. And I love that you've come to that conclusion, Olivia. Was there anything else about that that you want our watchers, viewers to know, or was there another class that you went to that you had an aha about that you wanted to share, since we had you frozen for a little bit there?
I'd say those are kind of my big three, was that I need to get that operations manual in place, and I need to become someone that knows how to hire, and just, I think maybe the biggest one was just how much I was holding myself back. And I was thinking of myself not as a strategic partner, but as the assistant, because it's a little safer to be the assistant. then to be the strategic partner. If I'm someone who's helping to make decisions, driving things forward, well, I can make bigger mistakes. And if I'm the assistant, then it sort of all rests on him, and I'm helping, but that's not really what he needs. He needs someone who's going to be pushing along with him, pushing him along sometimes, and really, driving the team forward. And if I can't be that person, he's going to need to find that person. And I like my job, so I can figure out how to be that person.
That's awesome. That's very, very well said. Very well put, Olivia. I like that. Thank you. Well, good deal. Does anyone else, the three of you have anything else that you want to add about, maybe to an assistant who has not yet been to family reunion? How do you convince your agent to take you, or how do you get there?
It's funny. I think that if your agent isn't willing to take you, you might want to get yourself there anyways. I would consider that. It's not that expensive. You could write it off. But most agents, if you really show, hey, there's a ton of breakouts and there are people that I want to meet and I want to network, I want to know how to build this with you. If you come to them with from a place of contribution and you say, I want to grow it with you, I can't imagine somebody not taking their admin with them. But I think, it goes along with what you were just talking about too. It's you become that person who is no longer just the assistant. You become the person who is the partner in the business. And I think that's a hard switch to make. That was the hardest switch for me to make. And for me to even go to a family reunion and think through what 5 people are out there that I can help find financial freedom. I mean, that's like, what? I don't do that. That my CEO would do that, right? No, that's not true. I should do that. And I should be that person too, which I have to help myself get there. But, helping people holding them accountable and holding them to a goal, it can be other admin too, and it can be agents, and we need to look at ourselves as those people and think bigger, which is hard for admin to do.
Absolutely. I would totally agree.
Can I add something to that?
Please do.
I think we are at a really unique place right now where there's so much growth on teams all over the country. Like, there's just the landscape is changing for executive assistants, and it might have been hard for us to imagine ourselves as leaders, but like, there is such a huge need for leadership right now, and it's a topic I'm really passionate about. The dialogue has to change. Like, we have to start with seeing ourselves as leaders, because think about who we're leading. We're leading very strong, powerful agents, and they need people to lean on. They're not perfect. They're on their own. They're raising their own leadership lids. And what an amazing responsibility we have to be that person for these people who are creating jobs in this, in this company and moving things forward. And I just think it's time for us to change the conversation, and we already have. So I just really appreciate having the opportunity to kind of start that dialogue and continue that dialogue.
I totally agree. And getting to family reunion or other events, even Mega Camp, is a great place to connect with other admin, because you see each other on the Facebook groups, and you might be friends on Facebook, but you can't have the deeper conversations that you can when you go to family reunion and you sit face to face with someone and look in their eyes and say, what is it that helped you get to the level where you're at? Or here's the issue that I'm going through. What's your advice? The stuff on Facebook is very superficial. Here's my checklist. But when we start having these conversations in a roundtable or a face-to-face meeting or in a mastermind, a panel, and hearing a voice and seeing a face, it is such a greater connection that you realize that you're not truly alone, even though you might be surrounded by agents in your market center with a few admins sprinkled in. There are greater conversations for us to have, and I'm so glad the three of you were able to join me today and bring this to the other assistants and other admin leaders that are out there. Again, to see your face and hear your voice, especially for those that couldn't make it to family reunion this year, I want to encourage everyone to get there next year. I know they haven't even opened up tickets next year. I got on there and voted for my choice of how to release the tickets. So hopefully that will be very soon, and I will see you guys all in Las Vegas next year. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I think also, just a thought, if anyone really wants to get to family reunion and their agent isn't sure if it's a good use of their money or whatever, a good thing to do would be to reach out to one of us, or someone else that has gone, and we can connect the agents and kind of help explain what it is that is good for us there and what the agent has seen us take out of it. Because I know I come back, like, I'm more energized, and, like, being in that room with Brains Behind the Chaos, I was like, I am in a room full of admins. This is awesome. Like, seeing that this community is growing, and that, that the education and the support is just growing, you can't, you're right, you can't get it on Facebook. The Facebook group is great, absolutely, but having that opportunity to meet people is priceless.
Exactly. We did have a question come in. Do we know if they are planning on doing the Brains Behind the Chaos next year? I was unable to get into it this year and would like to plan for it for next year.
I think that there might be, don't hold me to it, but I know that there's some excitement about potentially doing something at Mega Camp, possibly. And I know that it was very well received with just how many they sold it out once and then they sold it out again. So definitely reach out to Christy Belt-Grossman and express your interest in it. We're doing everything we can to try and get some leadership conversations within family reunion as well. So, and then also I brought up Christy. She's got the class, her class that's in a number of different cities. I don't know exactly all of the cities, but her Be a Boss, 10 Secrets of I can't remember exactly what the rest of it is, but it's a class that she's taking around the country for executive assistants and agents as well. But it's primarily for executive assistants. So if you want it in your area and it's not in your area, reach out to Christy directly.
Perfect. Another question here. If you had to choose one as an EA, Mega Camp or Family Reunion. So if you were only going to get to go to one, which one would you go to?
I'd go to Family Reunion because of the breakouts.
I would second that.
So I haven't been to Mega Camp yet, so I'm not sure, but from what I've heard about the two, I would pick Family Reunion, but I think I might get to go to both this year.
Yay! Yeah, Mega Camp is it's all in one room, and Gary Keller and a bunch of other of the top leadership at KW typically interviews panels or one or two people about certain topics that they pick. So there's no breakout sessions, and it's geared towards more of the mega agent and mega teams, and it's all in one room. It's a little more compact and condensed, but it's definitely a great thing to go to if you can get it, but I would definitely second that if you can only get to one, make it Family Reunion, because there are specific breakout sessions for executive assistants. And then another question. If you could say one resource for improving systems, CRM, transaction coordination, listing appointments, which would you recommend? One resource for improving systems.
I don't know. That's tough because everyone's business is in such a different place, and there are so many systems out there to choose from. So what I would say, the resource for me would be to take a step back and identify what the gaps are in your own business, and kind of do some strategy there, and start thinking about where your gaps are, and then from there systematically identifying what systems can fill the gaps. And that's where, you know, all of these Facebook groups are really, really helpful to just reach out and be like, okay, this is my gap. This is where we want to be, and this is where we are. And what systems are you using, you know, or have you had the same challenge, and what did you use to overcome it, and why? So without knowing exactly what your gap is, it's hard for me to answer that question, but I would just put your strategy hat on and just really think of it strategically about how to fill the gap.
You know what? And I would second that, and even add in, Nicole and I were talking the other day about this. I love to make the I hate to do list a lot. I make my agents do that. I make my admin do that. And I fill in with systems for whatever we hate as much as I can. So if you hate answering the phone, maybe there's a system out there, or a receptionist, or a virtual assistant, or something that you could bring in so that you don't have to do that anymore. I find that the things that we start to hate are the things that are bogging us down the most. So if you make that list, you might have it.
That's great. Great
Awesome.
advice.
I would also add, if whatever level that you're at, find and you want to be at the next level, find an admin who is at the level where you want to be, and find out what systems they're using. And ask them, obviously, is it working for them, and what they would improve on it, and then fill in the gaps with that as well. That's great.
The next question's good.
And then next question is, what are your DISC profiles, and do you believe an SC would be the absolute best fit? I'm an IS and struggling with deciding to stay in my current position as an admin or venture to a buyer's agent.
I'll take that because I am an IS. I have almost no C in my DISC. And I actually have my DISC profile hanging up by my desk, and every once in a while someone will come by and be, how do you do that job? I think, personally, even though I'm the IS, and I guess that's perfect for a buyer's agent, I would not be perfect for a buyer's agent because of a number of other things about me. Like, for one thing, I don't particularly like to make phone calls. But I think but that's what I realized in family reunion, that IS works really well for me as far as the relationships that I've built with our clients and with other agents. And our lead agent he is a CD, so we complement each other perfectly. So I think that's another piece to it, is how do you complement with the person that you're working with? Because me being the IS and him being the CD, I'm better at sort of smoothing over when maybe something goes wrong, or when a client just needs to call and vent about something for a little while. I'm perfectly happy to spend the time talking with them about it. I'm not like as good at the spreadsheets and the numbers as someone who is a high C, but because I know that about myself, I've taken extra time to get systems into place and to really learn CTE and all of those things. So there's a lot that can sort of fill in the gaps for you, even if you don't have just the right DISC profile. It's just a question of whether you're happy where you are, and look at what a buyer's agent has to do as opposed to what an admin has to do, because they're very different jobs, they're very different lives. And if you want to be out and about and like I'm always going somewhere and sort of on demand, then buyer's agent might be perfect for you. But I really like having I work Monday to Friday, like 8 to 5, and unless there's something really extreme going on, I've got my weekends, I've got my evenings. that's my preference. But that's sort of my take as an IS.
I think that's great. Coming from someone who is an IS, you were the perfect person to answer that. Lindsay or Nicole, do you have anything to add to that?
I think I'm an IDS, so I have 3 above the line there. I'm actually going to answer that differently because for a long time I was like, I'm the perfect person for this, and I wasn't. I am more of an agent. And so I would tell you, if you're finding yourself having a hard time dealing with all the numbers and stuff that goes along with that, like Olivia was just saying, I actually had to hire somebody immediately underneath me who was an SC, and I needed that person. I needed the steady Eddie, the C personality to fill in my gaps. I needed them to check me. Honestly, I'm fast at everything I do, and so I needed somebody that was thorough. And I would tell you, any IS, any IDS, any of those things, you're going to be faster than thorough. So have somebody check your work. You know, I would misspell things because I'm just going fast. So
That's awesome.
I guess just one little thing to add, and I hope it doesn't make people more confused, and I hope it gives them clarity, not more confusion. But you know, the DISC and the AVA and all of these assessments, at the end of the day, they are not who you are, and they're only one, as Gary Keller says, they're only one piece. And so we have to be really careful about, you know, labeling ourselves as one thing and having that have anything to do with our future and our career path, because as many examples as there are of amazing fits to the jar in the role, there are examples all day long of team leaders who are not team leader profiles and executive assistants who are not executive assistant profiles. And back to Lindsay's point, it's where you're happy and where you can get results. You know, we're here to do a job, and you know, at the end of the day, it's all about the results that we can bring, and that will determine the results and will determine the path, you know, the growth within your career. So that's just another thing to kind of consider.
Awesome. 2 more quick questions, and then we're going to sign off. What's the best way to go about finding an admin that's at the level I want to be? I would just say ask on the Facebook group if you're not already there.
Facebook messaging is awesome.
Yeah.
Reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out at all. I do
Ask
it
everyone
with,
you know.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the last question is there somewhere to go to match the DISC profiles to the different positions on a team?
yeah, you could just go to kw.com and look up Recruit Select, and there's
Toolkit.
what is it? The toolkit. Yep, every job is in there. It's got the disc in the jar involved with it.
Yep, and definitely take Recruit Select. The next time you see it's coming to your area, or you know, within a 100-mile radius and it's easy to drive, or even if you're hiring right now, with every hire, I would even suggest go to Recruit Select before you hire, just as a refresher and a reminder of what you're looking for and how to go about it. Every time I take Recruit Select, I find something new, and I learn something about myself too. So that's where it's at.
And Recruit Select, you know, it's not going to be available forever, but you're not going to be out. Like, it's going to be great for you if you take it, and it will transfer over. So don't worry about it's going away. You know, it's turning into career visioning, and it's a different thing, but it is very complementary. And if you learn Recruit Select now, it'll just prepare you for career visioning in the future.
Olivia, did you have something to add?
I was just saying I'm taking Recruit Select next week.
Awesome. Yay! Who's teaching it?
I think David Hill.
Perfect. Very good. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for joining me on this Google Hangouts. I think we had a lot of great takeaways, a lot of good questions that I think we helped out some people with. So thank you so much for doing this with me. I certainly appreciate it. And I will see you around the Facebook groups.
Sounds good. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Awesome. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.